As we continue to look for restrictions, let's look at when we have a trinomial as a denominator. Remember, the fundamental way, it's impossible to check, and we can't just say change our sign. A 10, if we plug in a 10, we're going to get 14 over 10 squared is 100. 3 times 10 is 30. 100 minus 30 minus 10 is 60. I can have 14 over 60. It's an annoying number, but remember, to find a restriction, what we want to do is set your denominator equal to 0. But since the denominator can't be 0, remember that we're saying it can't be 0. And again, that's just saying it's not equal to. Well, my denominator is x squared minus 3x minus 10. Can't be 0. But notice, I can't just add 10 and divide by 3. When I have a quadratic, factor it. Product of binomials. X and x gives me the x squared. Minus means different signs. Remember, do not think because they're both minus, they're both going to be minus. I know how tempting that can be. They have to multiply to be a negative, so they're different. Sign's a bigger number. Has to be a negative. 5 and 2. Positive 2 times negative 5 is negative 10. Positive 2 times negative 5 plus negative 5, negative 3. But now remember, if those are my two factors, then what I'd say is x can't be negative 2. X can't be positive 5. If I change that, remember that fundamentally comes from x plus 2 equals 0. Minus 2 to each side gives me negative 2. X minus 5 equals 0. Add 5 to each side. But again, our shortcut changed those signs. 5 minus 5 gives me 0. Negative 2 plus 2 gives me 0. But check what happens when I plug those in. Negative 2 squared is a positive 4. Negative 3 times negative 2 is a positive 6. Plus 4 is 10 minus 10. That gives me 0 in the denominator. 5 squared is 25. 5 times 3 is 15. 25 minus 15 is 10 minus 10. That gives me 0 in the denominator. Here are my two restrictions. Separate them with a comma. Now, another example we may see. X minus 3 divided by x squared plus 4. To find my restriction, what I want to do is take my denominator and let it not equal 0. Find out what gives me 0 and trash those numbers. X squared plus 4 can't be 0. I'd want to factor this. Oh, is that x plus 2, x minus 2? Wait, that's not my difference of squares because that would give me a negative 4. Tempting, I want to put plus 2 plus 2. That would give me a positive 4. But the problem is I don't cancel out to get a negative term. Remember, this was what was called the sum of squares. Remember, the sum of squares doesn't factor. Now, it has nothing to do with not being factorable, but look at our denominator. Remember what causes my restrictions. My restrictions are when I have a 0 in the denominator. The problem is, think about any positive number that I plug in. A positive number squared plus 4 is just a bigger positive number. A negative number squared is positive, plus 4 is a bigger positive number. All positive numbers, all negative numbers, even 0. The not positive, not negative. 0 squared is 0 plus 4 is 4. There is no number that I'm going to plug in. But remember, that doesn't mean anything bad. That doesn't mean no solution or undefined or anything crazy. What that means is no restrictions. But remember, restrictions are technically a bad thing. Restrictions are restricted numbers, not allowed. Up here, what I'm saying is I can pick any number except negative 2 and 5. Down here, I'm saying with no restrictions, I can pick any number that I want and I can plug it in. No restrictions is actually a good thing.